Hi everyone, welcome back to 171 Not Out. Today we are planning to discuss about the Australia versus India Test match, which just happened. We are recording this after just a few hours after the Test match has completed. So today we have a special guest with us, Sudhata Mukherjee. She is an famous journalist, and right now she is an independent journalist, if I'm not wrong. And she's an author of a book, Harrod Ties. Welcome, Sudhata.
Thank you so much, Alan. Uh,
So
it's nice. It's nice to talk to someone immediately after the test match got over.
Before getting into the show, I just wanted you to take a minute to describe to talk about the book which you have written, like which is on Amazon Kindle store, right? So maybe a little bit about your work can please.
So, Hello Ties is a story of Lily. She's born and brought up in the city of Joy, like I was, and she navigates personal journey, like personal experiences, and all the things that she yearned for. She finds it in places that she has never searched for, and I mean, the journey of Lily is not something extraordinary. It's something that each and every of like most of us do experience, but only when we see it from somebody else's eyes, we realize that we are not alone. Like some kind of intervention or awakening you can talk about. Also, there are a lot of cricket and sports mentioned in the book, so I think people who are who like sports, who like cricket, they will enjoy the book a lot.
Awesome. So yeah, I think now we can straight away move to the match. First of all, before talking about the match, I want to just ask about your opinion on watching from outside. Like this match has been different for apart from the game, like the promotion, everything happened before the game. That is something we are not, as a women's cricket followers, fans, we are not generally used to it. So how do you feel about that promotion which happened for this?
Well, to be to be honest, I expect much more,
Hmm.
but but whatever I see, I get. I am very happy about it because I think today only I was discussing with a friend of mine that somehow it doesn't matter to me if it's a 4-day game or a 5-day game or a 3-day game. What matters to me is that we play more test games. I mean, test matches.
Right.
If there are 4 test matches which are which spans over 3 days, I am very happy because you are getting to play 4 test matches. So for the promotion of the game, to see the women play 2 tests in a year, and one of them being a pink ball test, is amazing for the promotion of the game. I do wish, I mean, we all have our expectation. I do wish that the scheduling was much better, but unfortunately we are in COVID times, because it was initially not supposed to happen in Metricon. Moreover, the IPL is also happening. I'm not taking away anything away from the men cricketers, but it does take away the discussions or conversations that happen on Twitter. What one of the things which I absolutely loved is seeing those emojis on Twitter, which means that there is a certain kind of
Right.
conversation which is happening, and not only that, to see extra innings, the iconic
Right.
extra innings part of the women's series also is it's something really wonderful for the promotion of the game.
Right. Right. Now the game itself. India lost the toss. McLennan, I mean, as usual, I don't know what to expect. There is nothing new in the toss. McLennan asked India to bat on a green track. The opening partnership and Mandana's 100. So that was the highlight of the match, I would say. What's your?
Uh, I mean, I read report in the Australian newspaper today, and where they had questioned so it was something like the veterans, the mistakes the veterans made. You can't really expect the youngsters. You can't expect much from the youngsters, but the veterans let down Australia. And I mean, you can say that, like if you see Smithy and Shefali's opening partnership and how well the other batters were able to capitalize on the opening partnership. And then, I mean, despite having Perry in their bowling lineup, they couldn't capitalize. I mean, they couldn't take advantage of the conditions, which something Alyssa Healy has also had mentioned in one of the pressers. But I think it was given looking in mind the first day and the other situations around it. I think it was a perfect. In my opinion, it was a perfect call for the Australians to bowl first, because what happens is one. Uh, gripping the ball. I'm not a bowler. I mean, but I'm just saying from the point of view that how much I have covered and heard that gripping the ball in the night session is tricky. And when you have a fresh pitch in front of you with green fringe, and you know that these Australian bowlers are quite well acquainted to the conditions more than the Indians or the touring party is. It's just I suppose we wouldn't have been having this conversation about how Australia weren't able to capitalize if there were no rain, if we had had proper 100 overs of play in the first day and then the second day also, then probably things would have been different. Um, about Mandana's and Shefali's batting in the first innings, I think, well, we all know that Smriti is really good in test. We have seen her play quite well in the first test that she played in 2014 in England, and Shefali is also young with the minimal amount of support that she has had in her earlier days and where she is right now. I think both of them have done quite well. Yes, Poonam Roth, this whole thing about walking has been a highlight of the match also, but I think she has done well also. Then, yeah, I mean, if we don't know if we had proper 100 overs of play in the first day and then again in the second day, things would have been different. But it's good to see that our opening batters doing well in both the innings. In the Smriti doing in the first innings, and then Shefali today, she made quite a good impression. And going forward, that these experiences will matter for the upcoming World Cup, and then they will have the experience in the WBBL also.
So with that point, I just wanted to ask, do you think going forward with 4-day test for women's cricket, an additional reserve day would be useful, or you want 5-day test match?
I think I have already made the point that I do not mind more test matches if they are 4 days. Look, we have seen the ICC Test Championship final getting losing a lot of overs to rain. And rain is something that you cannot control. It's a natural occurrence. Things happen. Maybe we have seen the rains being playing a spoil sport in India also during IPL earlier, if you remember. I read somewhere today that I think there was a mix of 3 and 4 days matches in the mid 1970s, and the last 3-day match was in 1984. But there has been a 5-day women's test in 1992 between Australia and England. But everything since the mid 1980s have been 4 days. Now the question comes to women's test matches should be 5 days.
Right.
Well, probably yes, they should be. But my question is, if you are getting more tests, which is 4-day tests for women, would you take that, or would you take 1 or 2 test matches of 5 days?
Right.
And the question of reserve day is, I mean, we are asking too much right now. We want 5 days, we want reserve days. Sometimes you will say the reserve day is also washed out. Then somebody will come and say that, oh, we shouldn't play in England, we shouldn't play in Australia because it's rain. So there are too many factors. As long as there are enough number of tests being played and enough number of like overs being played, I think it's fine for the game. Because the only difference between the 4-day games and a 5-day men's test is 50 overs, if I'm not mistaken, because men's play 90 overs over 5 days. And so it's like a 1-day match being missed out by the women. Rain and other conditions is something you can't really control.
Right. So the next point I wanted to discuss is like Deepti Sharma's crucial 50. But there were a lot of chatters around like on the strike rate and I mean the innings progress, like run rate with India's batting. So there are a lot of I mean the Australian commentators were very vocal about like India playing slow, something like that. So what is your take on like where do you rate her 50? Like
look, if this innings was a T20 match where the strike rate is somewhere around 40, I would have questioned her role in the whole batting lineup. I mean, I wouldn't really question. I would have probably said that it's not an important, but this is a test match where you have to play longer sessions. Each ball, I wouldn't say each ball matter, but each sessions matter. So when you have your Shefali Verma gone, your Poonam Raut gone, Mithali Raj had a horrendous run out, I will say. So Deepti Sharma being one of the senior most players who had to take the responsibility of making sure that there are enough runs on the board. If you see, India declared at 377 and then Australia played 241. So you have, if you do the calculation, those 66 may have played a huge role. Because I mean, so I know a lot of people even said that Poonam Raut's strike rate was around 21. She wasn't playing contributing much. But then this is test match. We have seen Pujaras and play similar innings. I mean, I know Pujara is questioned a lot for that, but this is how test matches are. So either she could have played a stupid shot and got out and made the condition even more scary for India, tough for India. But I think I look, Dipti is one. I think in my earlier video with Paulami, I had told her that if one of the players that I'm looking forward from the Indian squad is Dipti Sharma. I wouldn't say I'm being very partial, but I think her role both as a batter and a bowler in any given situation matters a lot. And I think, in my opinion, that 66 mattered much more than what people are talking about.
So then the very next question I want to ask is like Julian's bowling performance. So after India batted, I think Julian started the little bit of collapse in, we can say, in the Australian side. Right? So where do you think, like at 39, she's running in bowling hard balls, hard length for the batters. So how do you enjoy watching that bowl?
I think more so after this test and even in England, we are going to miss Jhulan Goswami a lot. this whole dismissal of Beth Mooney, where Mooney just missed the delivery and it went and hit the stumps. It's just something which will be there in my mind for a very long time. She, obviously, is Jhulan Goswami, and she is a legend of the game. Her economy was somewhere, I think, around 1.5 or 1.6, something like that, in Australia's first innings. That says a lot.
Right.
So those two crucial wickets of Alyssa Healy and Beth Mooney played a huge role, because it puts pressure on the likes of your Lanning, Perry, and Gardner. I know that even Sophie, because I know that Australia has a good depth in their batting line. If I'm not mistaken, Sophie Muleno opens the batting for Victoria. If I'm not mistaken. So despite all that, your two crucial batters getting dismissed so early in the match plays a vital role.
Right.
Because look, already 2 days are missed, and Meg Lanning is not a captain who will settle for a draw so easily. Right. She first of all, if you look at the ODI series, India could have won the series on. Right. I mean, that one no ball played a huge role. Big difference. And so it actually, if that no ball wasn't there, it should have been 2-1 to India. And then you're coming into the test match where you have lost overs, and where you haven't been able to dismiss India, and then your top two batters are out. So those crucial wickets of Alyssa Healy and Beth Mooney played a huge role. And obviously, you have seen, I think today you must have noticed that when Jhulan took Alisha's wicket, she immediately, rather than celebrating, she went next to Meghna Singh, and she was like giving her, talking to her. So which means that, well, she plays a vital role. I am sure that she will stay back for the T20 series to see how the other bowlers are doing, because Ramesh Pawar has already spoken that it is important for India to develop those bowlers. Right. So it's just a bit sad for me that I will not be, probably this is the last time we have seen Jhulan Goswami playing a test match. Right. And also Mithali Raj. And I am someone who have literally grown up watching these two players play. So it's just quite sad. And it's a big hole in the Indian lineup. Right. But Jhulan was pretty. Those three wickets over 2 innings. The full match, I will say, has been one of the crucial moments of India's game. Right. So, I mean, personal point of view, like more than Mithali, will miss Jhulan the more because we don't have enough backup right now as of now. Yeah. So hopefully India will find. I think we already we already have a lot of bowlers. Right. See, sometimes what happens is that you have many good players in the domestic side. You have good bowlers in the Indian squad also, but it is about keeping them safe and nurturing them in the correct way. Right. So we already have, we are seeing Meghna Singh, we are seeing Pooja Vastakar. Vastakar has actually improved a lot from the England series. So these are the things that will be crucial going forward. And I already see that Ramesh Pawar and the management is doing quite a lot to make sure that the bowling department gets developed. India's, I'll just tell something. I don't remember who was this, that there was a conversation many years back when one of them cricketers, like men's cricketer from India, was asked by their Pakistani counterpart, is like, why do you have so many batters coming from India? Why don't you have bowlers? And then the immediate answer was like, you have these Sachin Tendulkars, you have Sunil Gavaskar, then you had Rahul Dravid, Sehwag. You see those people see them and grow up. And whereas in Pakistan, there was a time people used to see the likes of Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, and that's why you saw a lot of bowlers coming out, like good bowlers coming out from Pakistan. So in India, you never really had uh, that kind of a Tendulkar kind of a figure in the bowling department. I wouldn't say there weren't any good bowlers. There were plenty of good bowlers, but not someone like whom you can put it in the levels of Tendulkar. Or I'm being very harsh by saying all this, but that I'm just trying to compare.
Right.
So for today, for young girls, when they will be watching this, I know that a lot of young girls will be watching the series, and they have watched Julan, and they will know that at 39 the amazing things that she is doing. So they will be inspired by all
Right.
this, and this is very important going forward.
Right. So hopefully, I mean, it's a good thing that this match has been telecasted all over
Yep.
India. So hopefully, many will pick up the ball and start running like a Julian. So
I am sure they have already.
right. So you already touched upon this player, like, and I want to talk just Pooja Vastakar. So, like you said, it's been a drastic improvement from what we see Pooja Vastakar in Test in England compared to this. Even before this test, the last two ODI performance of her has also been like a very much more improved performance. So, how do you think Pooja Vastakar fits into this whole Indian plan, like even in ODIs and T20s going forward? Like she can be a third seamer.
I more I For me, I think more than that third simmer, the role that she plays, like the crucial role that she plays is that she can also bat.
Right.
She can come down at around 6 or 7 or 8 and plays those quick shots. So even though sometimes those 30 runs or the for 25, 30, 40 runs makes a huge difference to the overall scenario of the game. From the bowling part, she has improved a lot
Right.
from the England series, and we know that she has suffered from injury issues in the past, which has kept her away from the game. Look, I think the main reason we see an improved Pooja Vastakar is because the amount of matches she was
Right.
able to play in the past few months. And that is, if you compare this with the Australian side has not played matches in any kind of matches in May, June, July,
Right.
August. Four. So if you compare, I'm not I wouldn't say compare. If you see somebody like Stella Campbell, who has a lot of
Pace.
pace, quality, the height, and someone who is being looked as the next big thing in their side,
Right.
she hasn't really got chance to play in the last 4 months,
Right.
not domestic and anything. And I think she missed out on the series earlier because of injury.
Right.
So it is important that not only Pooja Vastakar, but other players like Meghna Singh and you have your Richa Ghosh also get to play more games, because
Right.
the more you play, the better you will become.
Right.
So, but the good part in all this scenario is that she has grabbed the opportunity and taken advantage of it.
Right.
And that shows in her performance. Those 3 wickets in the first innings was no joke.
Right.
I think she took the wicket of Meg Lanning.
Right.
And yeah, and when she said that at first I was concentrating on Meg Lanning, and then I was focusing on bowling the correct line and length.
Right.
So you know, like her focus is already there. So she good thing that she is taking the opportunity. I mean, grabbing the opportunity and taking advantage of the situation.
Right. I think each time when she came into the ball, there is something happening. Like she was trying to break a wicket, get a wicket for us. Yeah. This is more of about like the umpiring decision, overall the umpiring decisions, and not the availability of DRS. There is no availability of DRS. So, yeah, how much that influenced this outcome of this game? So, from your perspective.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were supposed to have DRS for the test match, but because of logistical issues and the whole COVID pandemic issue, they weren't able to, because there was a last minute change in the in the venue.
Right.
My question will be, okay, I understand, having worked with people who is in broadcasting, and I know the situations about how difficult it is logistically to arrange matches, even for men's games. Like,
Right.
it's a huge task.
Right.
However, having said that, if you are ready to spend so much in the men's game, why can't you do it for the women's game? I don't think you would have, if this was a test match, even if it's a one-off men's test match, we would have been questioning why there isn't DRS, because DRS would have been there.
Right.
So the question really is, have CA not tried enough
Right.
to arrange DRS?
So
Because
so far they have not. There was no DRS for any women's game in Australia, except for the exception of T20 World Cup. So that is what I read, like somewhere, like, so they are planning
no,
to.
that's my question. That, like, because of this, one of the reasons they had said is that there's a last minute change in
Right.
venues and this and that. So my question is this: if this was it's like a women's match, had we been questioning this? I mean,
Right.
do you expect somebody like, say, Tim Penn today come out and being told that there is no DRS? You think that he will be happy about it? No.
Right.
Same similar things we have faced in, we have seen in England, where the girls were made to play on a used pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are the things which keeps propping up. It's just like it's somehow it feels like the women's game is an afterthought. Oh,
Right.
we have to play, so let's just play. It's like that. So if you can spend and invest so much in the men's game, I do not see why it is an issue to bring DRS after so much. Like, it's an important series.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I think there was now Cricket Australia has said that they are trying to get the DRS for the women's Ashes.
Yeah.
But it's like, after all this talks and everything, they're like, we will try.
Right.
It's just, these are the small things which aren't really good for the promotion of the game.
Right.
Because look, there are a lot of decisions, if DRS was there, would have been different.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
So my next question would be, like, in the last day, what's your, like, in watching this last day? Did you think India had an outside chance of winning this match?
no, not really. I know that as a fan, when I was watching, and I think I keep on saying this always, that I really do not support any team. It's not that it's a conscious decision. It is somehow I have developed this because I like so many cricketers from so many teams. It just feels little bad to support a particular team. Having said that, when you have a very strong team like Australia, and you have a touring team like India, which hardly gets to win much despite coming so close to a match, you would want the underdogs to always win. I mean, that's how human nature works.
Right.
So honestly, I do not. When Mithali declared, I when the match started in earlier in the day, I wasn't really looking at a draw.
Right.
What I felt was that India will try to get all those wickets. A bit of a shocker that Meg Lanning decided that I have had enough, because I know from where she is coming also,
Right.
because she wants a result. She has already lost one ODI, another ODI she just managed to win. So, and India has done considerably well over the past few days. So she would want a proper result. So in Meg Lanning coming and declaring, still India managed to bat and was batting really well. And I thought that, okay, probably this is how it's going to end. Like India will continue to bat and irritate and annoy Australia like they did with England. But another shocker came that Mithali Raj decided, no, we will declare and try for it. And I think later on she even accepted that there was too little time to take 10 wickets.
Right.
Like our 18 wickets also, if you see, like for the whole day. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I hoped for a miracle, but I really didn't see a chance of anything but a draw.
Right. So apart from this, the one main performance from the Australian side, standard performance is Perry. Like with the ball, with the bat. I mean, the amount of overs she bowled in the last 4 days compared to what she has been doing in the ODIs, like maximum she was bowling 4 to 5 overs. So, I mean, I just want to ask, like, what's your feel like watching her perform after so many days in this full tilt of performance from Britney?
I mean, it's just sad that somebody like Ellis Perry or even Meg Lanning or Alicia Haley, they have made their debut long back in test and they have only played how many, like 3, 4, 5 test matches. And that also they get to play against England mostly because of the Ashes. So this, and I mean, we all know that Ellis Perry is already a legend in the game, in the women's game, or even you can say in men's game. All I mean, if you see cricket as a whole,
Right.
like entity.
Entity.
So Ellis Perry is quite. I mean, what is the exact word? I mean, she's an enigma, you can say.
Right.
Yeah, and so when she decides to hang her boots, there will be a huge hole in the Australian team because she can understand something. She is not a spinner. She's a simmer. She runs and bowls. So the pressure that falls on her back while doing those bowling is far more the biomechanics of it. And then she bats, and
bats,
so
bats.
yeah, bats and bats and bats. She doesn't get out. So it's a lot of pressure that she puts on her body, and playing a test match where you have to play like 100 overs per day over 4 days, whether you're bowling, you're running, you're fielding, you're batting, it's a lot of pressure on your body. It's not something like soccer where you play 90 minutes and you're done.
Right.
Maybe you're playing every week, but you're still, it's just 90 minutes of play. So she is an enigma, and it will be interesting. And I think she herself is trying to see that there are more people who will come out of the Australian domestic circle who will fill up that vacant spaces that they will have in the near future. I have only one word for her: enigma. She's yeah.
Right. So finally, the score reads like 6-4 to Australia, which is it could have been like 6-4 to India, or you could have called like an 10-2 to India maybe. It can be like that. So where do you see like in this going into the T20 series, like in the 3-match series, with this close fighting with Australia and India? So where do you see this series? Your prediction?
I still see Australia winning the series 2-1 because now if I am Meg Lanning, and we all know how determined as a captain she is, how much it also meant it meant for her to win the T20 World Cup in 2020 at home.
Right.
So, and after so many months, they have come together as a unit to play, and then to only manage to win the first ODI in a very fashionable way, and then almost
Lost.
like losing it in the second one and then lost the third ODI. And in the test match, they haven't really done well.
Right.
I mean, India has won most of the sessions, you can say. So as a captain, if I am Meg Lanning, I will be very furious, annoyed, frustrated. And I will be like, okay, I need to do better. I need my team to do better. We are not really a team that likes losing. We are not going to lose. So they will come out very hard. And
we don't have Zhulan, she'll be relieved.
I mean, yeah, I was going to that. There won't be any Jhulan Goswami leading the bowling lineup. She will be there from the sidelines, but there is a difference between being on the field and off the field.
Right. With
and
her hand is a different thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how much Harmanpreet will be. Her availability is still a question. I'm sure she will play, but you want to protect her.
Right.
So if you have to look at the longer longer time, I mean, the World Cup in next year and everything. So yeah, I still see Australia winning.
Right.
So I know a lot of people won't be happy, but let's be practical.
Right.
Also, they will have Talia coming back.
Right.
I think she will be back.
Yeah, they rested her for the test also
for T. I mean, Matthew Motts was very particular about it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it will be interesting. And T20 is totally different from Test match where you can frustrate the hell out of the opposition.
Right. Yeah. That's it. Thanks, Sujata, for the.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for taking the time and joining us.
No worries. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to people.
Right. Thanks. Hopefully you loved interacting with us.
Yeah, I did.
Hope to see more of you here.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.